You guys can try this. This is just good practice for you to learn like the same thing. We have 3 different ways we can do it, and this is really just coming right out of the chord shape. So I think it's the easiest way to do it. A minor, and let it ring. Why not? 3. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Repeat. 2, 3, 4. Right out of the chord shape. And just hold it. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Hey folks, thanks for joining me today on this very special workshop. It's Django Reinhardt's Minor Swing for the Gypsy Jazz Ukulele. Let's get started. Really appreciate you tuning in for this workshop and registering, of course. It's all about minor swing. I'm here to answer any questions. I'm here to walk you through minor swing, note for note, from chords to the melody, to fancy chords, to some chord soloing, to some improvisation. I want to kind of hit a lot of various topics with this so that you can have a lot to work on. I mean, obviously, we're not going to master it all in one session. You can always review this video, and you can look at all my other materials that's available on Patreon. You all are on Patreon, of course. I definitely recommend a low G string for all the materials that I'm passing out and giving. It could work with the high G. You just have to your leads. You have to be very mindful about not playing that string because it's going to mess up your octaves, but we're all low G, so I don't need to go with that spiel. This is a Kerry Char. Kerry Char is a luthier up in Portland, Oregon. So, basically we kind of came up with this design for this uke, and we've got a sound hole here. And he had kind of an idea of what to create, but it's really more of an aesthetic. I wanted the mustache bridge, and he kind of built this here, the oval hole, this extra hole, more for me to hear when necessary. And this is kind of Tacoma Guitars did that many years ago. They started that hole up here. But basically, and I have nylon strings still on this, but he said I can put steel strings on, which I'm kind of tempted to do to get more of that twang, that Django twang. But otherwise, no, this one, I mean, I don't want to say it really doesn't sound much different from, I hate to say it, but it doesn't sound that much different than a regular tenor ukulele. So it is more of an aesthetic look, but I do have a pickup built in, but I am really curious to put steel strings on and to give it a try with it. So it's but otherwise it's just more of an aesthetic look of it that's meant to replicate a gypsy jazz Django style manouche guitar. Selmer style, the oval hole, of course. I'm going to load up the materials, the basic here version of it, and I like for us to, then I'm going to walk you through it, but what I'm going to actually do is to load up my sound slice video, and I'm just going to walk you through it and share basically everything that I know related to minor swing as applied to the ukulele. So we're here to help you feel really confident of jumping in on a jam session or performing the song or whatever you want to do with it too. I'm going to start with, sometimes I do the easy version, but I'm just going to go straight to Django, and then we'll talk about it from there. I have on the score version, these are kind of the fancy chords, but this is on Sound Slice. Okay, so I want to show you a couple things, and I hope you all have been using Sound Slice. But as soon as you push play on this is what would come up. so now this version of it has his solo and then has chords written underneath it. So it's my transcription of it. That's for the ukulele basically. And look at where I'm at here. You can slow it down, play along. And it has the chord grids for you to follow. We'll do that, and we'll even look at some of Django's solo too. But of course, that's a little bit later. An hour. We'll do that in an hour. But at first, again, what I want to just share with you is the form. Again, I'm going to pretend that you don't know this song. So we got the melody, we have the intro melody, and there's an outro melody later, of course, as well. And then there's a solo section where there's no melody, and you would only be playing chords, or you'd be soloing. You'd be doing either or. But the melody that everybody is familiar with is actually the melody that is played on the violin, and that's what people would associate. If you said, play me the melody of minor swing, you would do this. Okay, that's the tune. It repeats 3 times, and there's a little bass fill there. So you would actually do that, not this second part. However, what I want to say is that the second part is actually what Django plays. And that's actually the harmony. He actually plays it lower, though, than the violin. So this is not an exact transcription. It's just an arrangement. It's my arrangement of their arrangement. So when you listen to it here from the beginning, I'm going to play the bottom part. Okay, so, and I'm just looking at my notation here. There's a few things here, like these little pull-offs. You want to be careful. This is the fancier version of it. Some people just go bum 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 ba bum. They don't do the da da da. This little 16th note. But again, just to show you how that's accomplished, it's so subtle. It's barely audible. Repeat. So I'm just once I'm on this 4th fret here. This is an A minor triad, A, C, E. And then this is the flat 6, but it's just kind of a decorative note above the 5th. You just want to pull off to the D, essentially. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, and repeat. 1, 2. One more time. And then 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Then you repeat it. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then we're into some rhythm. And actually, I was just playing Django's little fill here that he does for his solo for this particular version from 1937. But I wrote it as an A minor triad. 1. And again, you can quote that. That's classic, but you don't have to do that. That's not necessarily a part of the arrangement. So again, that's just how I would practice it. I would slow it down, and again, I'm going to assume that you've never done this before. I would slow it way down to 50%, and I would just play the top part. If you have another ukulele that you're playing with, then you can split it up and do 2 parts. So for fun, again, if you wanted to work on this part, you can do that while you're practicing. And again, this little slur here, you just want to be careful. At first, maybe don't even do it if you're just learning it. But once you learn the basic triad melody, then add it in, okay? But for now, first, I would definitely recommend learning Stefan's part, because that's what everybody associates as the main melody, the triad. And it's just A, C, E, D, F, A. Okay, just that part of it. Here we go. One time, let's put it at 60% here. Oh, let me show you something on Sound Slice that we can do. You can do a count in as well. This is important. Oh, I'm going to take out the metronome. I meant to do this. That way I have a second to talk to, and you're going to hear 4 clicks, essentially. And then get ready to play. And let's see if it... sometimes it doesn't... It's not exactly in time, so you don't really know what... The tempo might be different. Oh, that wasn't good. Sorry, hold on, let's see. So yeah, it's set at a different tempo. That's... Repeat. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat. Repeat. 2, 3, 4, 1. And then you're off into soloing, or you're off into the chords there. Let me show you this lick since we're at it, and since I played it here, if you haven't already done this little fill. Again, this is optional. This is not to be done every time. I would only recommend this actually if you're going to take the first solo. Otherwise, another person who's going to solo, they might do their own lick and their own fill if they're the first person to solo out of a group of at least more than one soloist. This is a cool little lick here, and I'm not going to say it's easy, but I do want to show you what to do to accomplish this. You want to start with a diminished 7th chord. I'm gonna get nice and close because I know I'm small here. A diminished 7th chord in this case is this 1, 2, 1, 2. This is, by the way, on the ukulele, there's only one possible diminished 7th chord. Okay, and that's it right there. It's this little diagonal, 1, 2, 1, 2. And it's a substitute essentially for E7. It creates an E7 flat 9. I'll get into some of the theory as I talk more about the diminished 7 sub. But I know you're looking at the chart and it says E7 sharp 5. And what we're gonna do though is to take our pinky and scoot it over 1 fret from a B to the C. B is the 5th of E, by the way, so we're sharping the 5th literally. Okay, we want to go 1, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and rest, and then go back 1, 1. Okay, so then you want to move the pinky from here to the B, from C to the B. Here it is super slow. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 4. 1 and 2, 3. And that was just an A minor triad. Sometimes I'll do an A minor 6. Okay. Here it is slow if you want to do it with me. I'm going to kind of do some annotating here just in case you guys are like wondering where I'm at. Just this little classic fill here, just for fun. 3, 4, 1. 1. Okay. And it says staccato there, the dots underneath. That's okay, don't worry about that. They're just going to be ringing on the guitar. You can hit it a little bit more staccato, but since we're using open strings, you don't have much control over the duration of it being staccato. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1. And then we're into some soloing there. Again, that's totally optional, only if you really want to quote Django. Later on, you'll hear a different fill that Django does in his 1949 recording. He does this cool little soloing lead. Okay, so again, this is just kind of from one version of it, kind of the pretty popular version, 1937, of Django. Okay, so any questions? So again, there's one way you could do it is like this. Or this. Shift. Okay? And this you're going to see some of my soloing stuff pretty soon. I'm going to talk about diagonal arpeggios, where I do this quite a bit. So we're gonna do some shifting, but check it out, 1, and 1 being A, flat 3, C, and then the E, I'm gonna put my first finger here. So make sure you can do that, the A minor triad, shift, okay? And then from here, you could do the slur, that half step, that's an F, and then get to the D here. And then from here, check it out, this is D minor, and I'm on my pinky. You could use your ring finger if you want. This is a D minor triad. Okay, bar chord. So you get, the melody would be this though. The rhythm would be. So here it is super slow with the new fingering that's not written, but just to, again, modify it to maybe your needs. I like that. It requires some shifting. And then this. So that's what I would do. I mean, it gets hard to hear, but ba-ding, and you could do a little grace note, ba-ding. I would hit the open A first. So that's down the A natural minor scale, meaning like key of C, A Aeolian mode if you want to do it, pure minor. There's many names for it. So then down to the A. Here, why don't everybody do it with me? This is a little scale practice. It's fairly easy. This is your A minor scale, C B A. Okay, just copy me. C B A, G, F E. This is key of C, essentially A minor scale. And then D, C. Oh, I want to go to B, but I don't think there's a B. I think it just goes straight to C, A there. So here it is super slow, and it's right on beat 1. But there's a nice little ba-dum, that open A, da-dum, dum, dum, dum. Think of it as a C major scale. You know, you're starting on C. You just think of it as a C major scale, but it's really an A minor. So if you tried it in context, that's good to do. Here it is super slow. From the last part of the melody. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, and 3, 4. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 chords. So that's how you can, you want to practice it in context so that you can do it a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 4. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Notice I was using that new fingering. Okay, most people probably wouldn't do it that way, but I kind of like it. So, but here it is with the fingering, of course, as written on the sheet music that I wrote, my arrangement. 3, 4. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. D minor. This is the easy version here. I want to do this with you guys. E7. And then back to A minor. You guys can try this. This is just good practice for you to learn like the same thing. We have 3 different ways we can do it. And this is really just coming right out of the chord shape. So I think it's the easiest way to do it. A minor. And let it ring. Why not? Three. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Repeat. 2, 3, 4. Right out of the chord shape. And just hold it. One more time. Two, 3, 4. A 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Where that note is here, if you were to hit this note, that's actually right when the bass fills. So you wouldn't strike this note and then do the bass run, because that would add an extra measure. You would actually have to choose, do I want to hit this note here, or do I want to start my bass run, the lick? Well, it's not really a bass run, but you know what I mean. This. So you choose. Most likely you will not do the bass run, but I just want to give you that option. So notice I omitted that final note when I went boom, 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 boom. A 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chords. D minor. E7. These are what I just call the basic cowboy chords. D minor. Back to A minor. I know I have to change my chart here. E7. This is the basic version of minor swing. A minor. E7. And top. And that's just quarter notes, keeping it really super simple with those open string chords. I'm going to show it to you this way. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here. Again, that was A minor, D minor, A minor like this, D minor like this, and then E7 like this. Okay, it's all tabbed out there. Again, this is a great place to start right here to me. I've got so many versions floating around, but this easy version is great. It doesn't have this. That's Django's solo. So the other one that we were looking at is based off of Django's 1937 solo. It'll be different if you look at his 1949 version. This is just, we can make our own version of this. This is the generic version. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Chords. Okay. Or, I'm just showing you the options. Or 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then we can also look at his lick to 1949. Again, this is all available to you on SoundSlice, so you can practice it later on your own. But it's important to know the real basic part, the real basic song of it, essentially. I like this a lot. So again, just to show you the 3 ways we could do it like this. Or this. Or this. And there's some good things about not letting it ring too. The articulation of it, especially if you're with another instrumentalist. But it's really pretty easy and very uke friendly just to do this. Okay, so please choose the way that works best for you and that you prefer. I think that's important. But let's get back to some chords if there's no other questions with the main melody, the intro melody. Again, please just strum with me. I would suggest that you just follow along. A minor, D minor, and you gotta do this a lot. That's all I'm gonna say. You want to play along with Django. You want to play along with other recordings on YouTube, and just do this quite a bit to where you do not have to think about what chord you're on. You want to do it by intuition and just know. Again, you're gonna hear me often say the 1 chord, 4. You want to hear it in terms of numbers, 5, the function, 1. and then measure 9, that's the 4 chord, back to the 1. 5, and 1, 5, 1. You can kind of, have fun. You just cowboy it up. You can shuffle it. I do want to say that I am doing this, many of you again, here we go again, both of you who took my class before, I talk about this kind of La Pump style swing where you want to just push down each time you strike the chord, push down whatever notes you can press down. If they're open strings, then you don't have much flexibility, but even on that A minor, you can just pump that string, and that's where that term, the La Pump gypsy jazz style of comping. I'm going to show it to you with all 4 fingers on a particular chord. So you can really control the duration. Here's A minor 6. Unfortunately, when you're using open strings, you don't have much flexibility. You have 1 note that you can pump, but it still makes a difference in articulation. Even though these 3 strings are just constantly ringing. Otherwise, you'd have to use some dampening. Some people do it like that. I don't like to do that. And you could even use your right hand. I would do that more. I'm just covering the string after each quarter note strum. And I would kind of lean into 2 and 4. Otherwise, that's another level again. Otherwise, you should just start with this. Kind of very folky, kind of, But the whole swing feel is kind of that nice, short, crisp quarter note pulse with the emphasis on 2 and 4. But notice again, on the D minor, we now have 3 fingers that we can press down. See that? That's ringing. That's okay. E7, 3 fingers, 3 notes. A minor. D minor. You might experiment with this. Accent 2 and 4. E7, and here comes a top. D minor. I'm just pumping those strings. That was the wrong chord, I'm sorry. D minor. Back, I'll yell it out. A minor. E7. A minor. E7. And top. I'm going to show you some other chords in a second, but that's a great place to be. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get Django back up here. Let's just play along with Django. We've got a nice long session to stretch out our ideas here. So, our practicing basically. I want you to leave here feeling like you have mastered minor swing. Well, that you know the form of it, and you know the chords and melody, and even hopefully feel like you can improvise on it a little bit. I'm going to go back to the screen share here. I don't know if this will help you or not. Actually, I could go into this mode here and zoom out a little bit. This is the score version. I would say look at the top part. So like right here where the solo actually begins here on this A minor chorus 1. You could play, we'll talk about this in a second, but you could just look at the top part, A minor. And I'm gonna go nice and slow. So A minor. D minor, E7. I'm just using the very basic chords. A minor, D minor, See that short quality? E7. Stay on E7, don't worry about the B flat 7, A minor, and E7, and top. I'm simplifying it to the basic version. D minor, E7, A minor. The 4 chord, D minor, A minor. And then just to the 5 chord, E7. Stay on E7, A minor, E7. And then A minor. That's a good thing to do. Again, memorize the chord progression, play along with Django, play along with other players, get those basic chords down to where you can hear it and you can know whether you're on the 1 chord, the 4, the 5, and know where you're at even within the progression. That's a great place to be, just to jump in and be like, oh, okay, the 4 chord, back to the 1, just to know where you're at within the song. 5, 1, 5. And that's a simpler version again. You don't have to do the B flat 7 or the F7. Again, some players like to throw that in from the 1937, but he doesn't do that later on in the 1949, and not all players do that. So just please be aware that there's different versions. I would always recommend going to the easy version, which is the one I showed you a second ago. Any questions on that at all? It's nice to know those substitutes, and that's where I just took it off the page, but E7, you can substitute B flat 7 with E7. That's called tritone substitution. But when you're 3 whole tones away from the dominant chord, so if you see E7, you can go tritone. I always try to sing that tritone, and you can go the B flat 7 in place of the E7, or both of them together, as in minor swing. You can go E7, B flat 7, A minor. And then at the very end, turn around here, you can go F7, E7, which kind of makes it bluesy. And that was F7 to the A minor. This is just kind of basic F7, E7, A minor. It's really a nice turnaround, kind of a bluesy turnaround. And that, if you're wondering what that S7 is, if you know basic F7 like this, or sorry, basic F like this, you would want to put this finger on here, and then add the C on top as well. You can also think of it as, hey, here's E7, scoot it up 1 fret, but then you have to cover this note here. Here's E7, here's F7. The funny thing is, and the tricky thing is that you would typically not do E7 like this. You would do it like this. Well, now I have to think about it. Like this. You have to do it like this. Not like this. But when you know you're going to do F7 first, and then when you play the E7, you'll do this. And then A minor. So we have F7, 2 beats. E7, 2 beats. A minor. And that would be the beginning. So that would only be in the very last measure of the form for the solos on measure 16. F7, E7 to the top. Very bluesy. But you can practice it like this. I like it. Throw it in there if you want to. And then again, I didn't show you the B flat 7 chord, but this chord. These are kind of the optional chords here if you want to. More toward his 1937 version. So here's E7, and then B flat 7, and then A minor. And yes, this is the bar chord here. So this is coming, if you don't know this already, here's A7, which is very easy. Open, 1, open, open. And notice I'm using my middle finger only because I know I'm going to demonstrate in bar. and go to B flat 7. So that's 1, 2, 1, 1. So in minor swing, in the 1937 again version, you'll hear it go E7, B7, sorry, I'll say that again, E7, B flat 7, kind of a darker substitution, A minor. And then check it out here. That's measure 16. And then that. So that's the fancy 1937 version, which has a couple more substitutions on those dominant chords. But ultimately, you want to know your inversions. The easiest way to do that B flat 7 is this. Here's E7. They're so related. They have two of the same notes. And then, but again, don't start there if you don't have the basic already down. Add that in. I don't always do that personally myself. Okay, so we have the chords down. We played with Django for a little bit. We have the melody down. We have to do the outro melody. And then we'll talk about the fancy stuff, even though we're already hitting some fancy stuff now. So the soloists, depending on how many people you're jamming with, or, you know, in this case, Django and Stefan, they each take their own solo, and then they'll play the melody out. I'm gonna fast forward. Oh, I'm not on here, and let me show you what I'm doing here for the outro melody. But I'm not notating Stefan's solo, so you just have to listen. Where are we at? You gotta listen. Top. That was A minor. D minor. E7. The 5. This is not notated. We're just going by ear and knowing the chord progression. 4. D minor, when I say 4. A minor 1. Do we want to do the B flat 7? Sure, why not? E7, B flat 7, A minor, F7, E7, turn around. And Stefan solo, A minor, D minor. Get ready for the 5, E7, and A minor. And now measure 9, the 4 chord. Back to the 1. E7, B flat 7, A minor, F7, E7, and top. D minor, I'll yell it out with the letter names. E7, A minor. And here comes measure 9, the second half, D minor, A minor. E7, ready, B flat 7, A minor, F7, turn around, E7, top. Try to get the pumping action. E7, I'm not yelling it out, but hopefully you know, A minor. E7 always wants to go to A minor, D minor, always. E7 goes to A minor, D, A minor. E7, well, the B flat 7 as well, right here. And A minor. Yeah, Stefan. One more time. A minor. D minor. E7. Where does E7 always want to go? A minor, back home, 5-1. And here comes the 4. A minor. And here we go, E7 to B flat 7, tritone sub right here. And A minor, turn around. Melody out. So the outro melody is different from the intro melody. Why? Because now we actually add the 5 chord. We actually need to arpeggiate the E major triad. Remember, the melody is just triads. A minor, D minor. But here they're kind of following the form of the solo, at least the first half. And then it goes to E major, because it's the E7 chord that has a major triad, and then to the A minor. So if you can see where my cursor is, I'm actually going to zoom in here as well. But that was good. That was great practice to play along with Django. That's what I recommend. Just slow it way down. Have the chart in front of you if you need it. Get rid of it as soon as you can though, but have it at first. So here's that outro melody, and I wrote outro melody here. I hope I did at least. Let me take a look. Yeah, outro melody. And again, there's no harmony in this at this point. It's just one melody note. A, C, E, A, C, E. Actually, that should be do, 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 do. Oh, we'll just keep it as written here. Bum, bum, bum. A, C, E, D, F, A, D, F, A, A. And then E, G sharp, B. I'm not gonna... Repeat. E major, second ending, 1. And you could just do an A minor triad, or you could do this. This is I wrote this A minor 9 chord, and it's actually A minor 6/9, just for color. And again, I'm so picky about this. There's the shape, and I can also write A minor 6/9. Do 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 do. That ending lick, of course, you all know how much I think you know how important this lick is. 1. Very important. That's classic. 1. And that was that A minor 6/9. You could just do an A minor chord. That sounds beautiful as well. Or you could do this A minor 6. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Underneath there. So listen to right here. I'm going to just push play. Maybe you could even practice really slow if you want to. It'll give you 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty slow, but you get the idea. Again, if you want to just loop that, you can just work and master that ending lick. 1. I like that chord. It's got a lot of color, but you don't always have to do that. Let's do that outro melody again. I hope who's fingering it like this as written? Do it like this. And you can actually do a little bend here. I didn't notate that, but I think I'm going to, because that's what you hear Django doing. Is right here. Is you can put a little bend on there. I'm just being a little bit more specific now, and you can see how fun this sound slice is. A little bend. How much of a bend? Half step. Do you want to hear it go up? No. Do you want to hear it come back down? No, you just want to hear it go up. You'd go like this. Here it is with the bend releasing. But you don't actually hear it release. You just hear it go up. And that's what it'll look like on the notation now. Where was that, by the way? Oh, right here. Da-dum, da-dum. So you do this. Whatever finger you're using, you get a little bit more power, because it should be like this. It's almost like a little, that's a half step bend. Like you're going into C note. It's kind of like a little bluesy lick. Just for your reference to listen. We're being pretty precise, but that's good. That's why you're here. Easy fingering. Slow. E. Second ending. I had to leave that in there. Okay, so yeah, that's slow. That was but the hey, 30% of the original tempo. That's you'll master it, if you get it. So again, just to reiterate, A minor, D minor, and then the triad E major, which is this triad shape here. This is important because we're gonna hit soloing in a minute. Okay, so the melody is just right out of the triad. Okay, that's the easy way of doing it, and I like that. It's nice, as opposed to this. Okay, that's that way I like also, because now I have control over the duration of each note and the articulation too. Of course, we could have done this. Sorry, Anna. That's another way, but again, I could show you more ways probably, but that's probably too much to worry about. Just learn it one way for now, and then think about your other options. And that's important because that's how you're going to master the fretboard, is by thinking about where else can I play that A minor, or maybe up high. Okay, and that's an octave higher. Any questions on that? I don't think, again, I know you're going to play along with Django later and practice with him in the other version as well. But we could start some soloing ideas if you're ready for that. Actually, one more thing I want to hit with chords, and that's actually written on here. And that's now to do, this is the version I typically do when I play chords. I use this A minor 6. So an A minor 6 chord, here, let me load up the, I keep going back and forth. I just wanted to show you that chord, that A minor 6 chord here. You can see, in this version is good because this is how I notated it here. So notice two ukuleles. We have the top part, the lead, and the bottom part. So this is that A minor 6 shape here. And it doesn't show to bar it, but you want to bar, of course. So bar across the 2nd fret. You have the A and the E, the root and the 5th. The F sharp, which adds that 6th degree, that color, and then the 3rd, that makes it minor on top. That to me is a very gypsy jazz sounding chord. It's going to be great when you want to do some chord soloing like this. And that was just that A minor 6 shape. Beautiful, beautiful Django style chord. And now for the D minor 6, I'm doing this shape. 4, 5, 5, 5. And often how I show this shape is I just say, well, this is D minor. And take the root and walk it down to the 6th degree. There, I call this the descending cliche. Here, listen to it. It's a beautiful common chord movement to go D minor major 7, D minor 7, D minor 6. And just make sure all the notes sound nice and clean. Especially when barring like this. Otherwise, you might want to squeeze all of the fingers in here if it needs to sound. And again, now by doing this, we can actually control the duration. Okay. A minor 6 to D minor 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. D minor 6. A minor 6, just for fun, for practicing this new shape. Doesn't hurt to go back and forth. And notice I'm accenting 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. just like a snare drum player is hitting the either the hi-hats or the snare, well, that's not the snare drum, but the hi-hat or the snare drum, the brushes, accenting 2 and 4. Here's E7, not like this, but like this. Some of you, I hope, already know D7. This is often how people show or learn it and how they show it in books. D7 like this. So here's E7. So here's F7 if you wanted to. That's going to be that nice little lick here. F7, sorry, F7, E7, A minor 6. Like at the end of that turnaround, you go 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very bluesy, very bluesy. Again, you also have this way. But now you have this. 3, 1. So again, I would loop that just for practicing to get, it's muscle memory for your fingers. We have F7, E7, A minor, and that I call it the flat 6. F is the flat 6 of A, E is the 5, but F sharp is the 6. That's why F is called the flat 6. F7, E7, A minor, and then try the inversion here with the A minor 6. One more time, or a couple times. That's a turnaround, and that's just A minor triad. I'm just looping it, but I'm mixing these up. And that's a little bluesy sound there, a little A minor blues scale. It sounds really nice. And I actually did not send that sheet out to you. Some of you have it that it's just an A minor blues scale sheet. I call it Essential Swing Scales. I'll do a follow-up for y'all with a few more things here. But again, hopefully this is all pretty thorough on learning this. We've got fancy chord, and do we need to learn any fancier chords? Nah, that's what I was debating on. How fancy do we want to get? You could do a lot with this much. Trust me, if you can just really get this down really well, that's plenty. Of course, you could get higher up along the fretboard with these chords, but don't worry too much about it. Just get really comfortable. One more time as a demo. E7, A minor 6, D minor 6, A minor 6. Excuse me, I didn't show you the B flat 7, but I did do it. I went E7, and then B flat 7, and then A minor 6. Just like we did on this 1937 version again. B flat 7, I'm going to show it to you this way. If you all play G7, we all know and love G7, and then I always recommend refingering it if you know you're going to be moving it around to make it a movable shape. Here's G7 now. I always say put your finger behind the nut here so it's a 0 fret. So here's A flat 7, here's A7, and of course here's B flat 7. But here was E7, B flat 7, A minor. Just do that a few times. E7, B flat 7, A minor 6. So it'd sound like this. And then that F7, I'll do that again, slower. E7, B flat 7, A minor 6. F7 to E7, top, A minor 6. I went Um, so yeah, it's all right there, the A minor 6 and the F7. There's actually 4 F7s that I wouldn't say should know, but there's 4 different inversions for any 4-note shape. For a 3-note, like triad, there's 3 shapes, there's 4. So you do want to learn your chord inversions, but again, this will get you going here for sure. So I think you guys got that down. But just take that E7 shape. I thought I showed it here. Yeah, that E7, and just move it up 1 fret, and then that's F7, so you can have your options as far as where do I want to do that F7, E7, here or here, okay? We got the chords down, we got that. It's time to do some improvisation, yay. I'm gonna load up something here. I'm not gonna say it's easy, because I'd be lying probably if I said it was easy. But this is a minor swing improv idea sheet. I sent this out for you. And there's a lot on here, obviously. This can last the rest of the session, but I don't want to worry about it too much. But the idea of it is actually kind of more down here, is to learn your triads. Okay, and there's A minor can also, these are on the top 3 strings. A minor can also be open, open, open. I didn't write that one there. And D minor could be open, 1, 2 there. I should have filled that in as well. So I'll have to do a correction on this. But the idea of this method, just so you know, is to target triad notes and to only play triad tones for your soloing. I think that's tricky. I want to say it's easy. When you're on A minor, play A minor. You're on D minor, play D minor. But that takes a certain level amount of knowing the chord progression and also knowing your triad notes. So I think the thing that will help you with that the most is to look at this and to just kind of choose a triad shape. I'm going to show you which one I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose this one. Actually, here, let me do the annotation just for fun, because this worksheet right here can last you quite a while. I'm going to use that one for the A minor, this one for D minor, and this one for the E major, okay? Why did I choose those triads? And by the way, these are just the same 3 notes inverted. There's different shapes. And yes, I would recommend learning those. But for now, this method, right, what I'm going to show you is just to choose one region of the fretboard. And I'm choosing down here, kind of the sweeter spot, A minor, D minor, and E. And back to A minor, okay? So what am I going to demonstrate? Just what I did. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, D minor. These are just triads. E major. E major. A minor. D minor. A minor. A minor. E. E. Forget about the B flat. That's not important. That's just a sub. A minor. Even on the turnaround there, sometimes I don't even bother with the quick change F, E7. I just stay on A minor. That keeps everything as 2 bars. And I do have that worksheet that I sent out to you. It's a pretty long one. It's called Gypsy Jazz Boot Camp A minor. I'm going to load that up. This is kind of just a quick overview, summary of it. But this is where also you can put on a backing track to minor swing. There's the 19, it says old style. There's different versions of minor swing you'll hear. And we just did the 1937 version. I'm gonna slow down a little bit too. A lot. Even more. D minor. This is just a demonstration of this triad method. This is kind of the preliminary A minor. E major for the E7 chord. Don't worry about the B flat chord there, and back to A minor. And just stay on A minor, that's 16. And here we go, top, A minor. D minor. again, I've already mapped this out. E major, A minor, D minor, and back to A minor. Where is it gonna go? To E major. And where does E want to go? Back home to A minor. And don't worry about the turnaround here, F7. Now watch what I'm gonna do. I'm just breaking up the chord. Where are we on? D minor, right here. A minor. E. A minor. A minor. D minor. Adding rhythm, of course. E. A minor. I always add that lick in a D minor. A minor. I'm just breaking up the chord, the arpeggio. But I'm trying to make some music with rhythm. A minor, add rhythm. D minor. Don't lose your shape. E. A minor. D minor, right here, you might strike it. A minor, strike it. E, strike it. A minor. Now I would go up to the next inversion. So what I'm demonstrating here is playing the chord changes, basically. That's the jazz kind of method, is play the changes. To learn how to play the changes as it's going by, you want to make sure you're navigating through A minor, D minor, E. We could just use a scale, just kind of noodling around. I'm kind of saying that like it's not playing changes, but in this case, because I think it's more to the style, that this is kind of what I usually say. If you want to play gypsy jazz, get used to playing the changes, and that's what is required, is that you're going A minor, D minor, E major, A minor, D minor, A minor, E, and back to A minor. This is just paraphrased. And then I'd go to the next inversion, A minor, D minor, then E, A minor, D minor, A minor, to E, A minor, A minor. And I'm just connecting the dots, A minor, and there's another inversion, and that's another great study, is just to kind of go through all three, but that would be the next step. The first step is just to choose one region of the fretboard and just master that through with a backing track, and start off with just hitting the chord, and then start to break it up into single notes with adding your own rhythm. Adding some swing, I usually say, ad-lib some rhythm. So that's what I recommend. Yeah, kind of letting the triad shape or chord ring. We want to make them sound like they're single notes. But at first, so I do recommend just holding the shape, because you got to visualize it and then break it up into single notes. And this is where I like to just use one finger. So I'm going to demonstrate this. I'm going to just probably go at a little bit quicker tempo here. It's more of a demonstration right now using the backing track, but you guys can watch this. I'm going to put at 0.75. Oh, one finger, why not? D minor, A minor, E, A minor, A minor. That was D minor, E, A minor. That was D minor, A minor, E, see, now I'm just in a new position, E, but I'm always keeping track of the A minor, D minor. I'm holding the chord shape just to show you, A minor, and here's E, here's that other E, and A minor. This is a good study right here. So now check it out, A minor, D minor, E, and then more single notes, D minor, A, and I'm, again, at this point, I'm not looking at the chart. That's the thing. This is why the backing tracks are great, because you can see the chords go by. And like I said, I'm ignoring the B flat. I'm ignoring this. I'm just keeping A minor for 2 bars at the end. I'm keeping E for 2 bars here. I'm not worrying about B flat triad, okay? That's cool. That's tritone substitution, but I'm just keeping it very, very simple. And I think it does sound great. I mean, if I may say so. But again, this is a good first place to begin. I do have some fancier worksheets I can demonstrate it on. I mean, that I gave you guys, but and of course you can work on Django's solo note, and that was the real tempo there, 190 there. But you can work on Django's solo too, note for note and stuff like that to get licks. But really the next step that I would want to, and I'm going to demonstrate this because it's on Sound Slice for you to practice to already, is this little routine that I've developed called Gypsy Jazz Boot Camp. Strengthen your knowledge of both these there's actually a lot of different studies, but this triad method. Okay, triad is like the purest thing I think you can do for this, and that's why it's a great place to start. Versus, what scale do I use? Don't even bother with thinking scale, I think. I'll show you a scale though before we leave, but I would say get to the heart of it by just outlining the chords. Scales are great if you're like, hey, I don't want to think about what chord I'm on. That's usually when I say, okay, just play a blues scale, or just play the harmonic minor scale, or just a natural minor scale that you can use that sounds great, and I'll show you that in a second here too. So again, but this is where it's at to me, and that's why I'm emphasizing this so much. But I think I want to show you another sound slice, and feel free to ask questions. I know I'm talking quite a bit. I will include that. Yeah, that's a good little worksheet. That's the one I generally share when I'm doing and I'm surprised that, I'm sorry, yeah, maybe I did mess up and sent out the guitar version. So Anne's talking about this little worksheet here, this minor swing improv ideas for the ukulele. This is the one I generally share when I teach minor swing, and just like give some really quick ideas. But there's a lot of stuff on here. And the idea again is I'm spending all this time on just visualizing, but I kind of want to update that, because like, look at, I'm using this particular shape here. I just showed you a few different shapes, but the shapes are down here. Okay. And I didn't use any open strings. That's why you didn't see the open ones. And then there's more arpeggios. But this right here is very important, what we can do with it afterwards. And this is now where you can add, once you have the triad shape mapped out, this A minor, D minor, E major, then you can add a half step lower neighbor tone. And then it's going to sound like, well, don't worry about what's written there, but it'll sound something like this. Okay, so once you again have that A minor mapped out, these notes, then add a half step below. Da da dum, da da dum, dee dum bum, bum bum bum, to create a little bit of tension. It sounds beautiful. D minor, E, A minor, D minor. That's called the lower neighbor tone. You can hear it often called an auxiliary tone. You might hear it called an approach note by different jazz educators. I call it a lower neighbor tone, meaning you're just going to go over to the neighbors and come right back. An approach note terminology might be when you're going into the note, a half step like this. And that's very Django too, but I didn't go da-da-dum. I just went. So I started a half step below, and then I went into the triad note, in that case, A minor, to go D minor. Oh, I'm sorry, D minor, E. So again, I'm visualizing. That's the key word. Visualize these chord shapes, these triad shapes, and then you can apply these embellishments. That's what I'm calling it. You're going to have more of them as I show you this other worksheet, to where you end up with these beautiful ideas. And then now I'm just doing the same thing. I'm visualizing, I'm playing the chords, the triads, but I'm embellishing quite a bit to where it's starting to sound more like music, versus just the chord tones. So it's starting to sound, I want to say, more ornate or embellished. Again, I'm using the term embellishments. But the visualization process is what's important, that you can visualize where A minor is, D minor, and E, and then you learn these embellishment tricks. So on this worksheet, the half step below is a great place to start. And then on that E7, the E major, if you guys want to play it right here, then I say, actually it's right here, this portion of it, on the E to go a half step above. That's really cool on the E7. To go da, 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 and then A minor. And again, I nicknamed that the Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa. I've got nicknames for each one of these kind of embellishments. I'll say, yeah, let's just work on the Mona Lisa. Let's work on the lower neighbor or the upper neighbor tones. So again, that's a big part of it. Obviously, that's going to take a lot of practice on your end. First of all, to memorize those shapes. D minor, E, A minor, D minor. Take it through the song. A minor, E, A minor. And then, as Alex said, I don't know if he has a direct question, but I like to break it up and just use one finger. I'll use my middle finger. E, A minor, D minor, A minor. Then I add the lower neighbor. But I'm already visualizing that A minor. So I wouldn't recommend those embellishments until you can, memorize the triad shapes and stay in one region. Don't try to do all your inversions right away. I think that's too much too soon. Actually, I didn't use my index finger for those. That one I used my middle finger. So this is a great exercise is to use your middle finger only for all of the notes. If you know, you're going to use the lower neighbor. So check it out. A minor is this. Everybody can do this with me. Visualize this first. If you're like, wait, what was that? You got to do this first. Okay, that's an inversion of A minor, C, A, E. And I'm not worrying about the fourth string. I'm just doing 3 strings only, the top 3. So then now try this. Okay, you got to. And now I'm using only my middle finger. Now add the lower neighbor tone. So we're going to start on the chord tone, below it, and back. So that's why I'm starting on my middle finger. With a little bit of swing, might sound like this. And here's D minor. Here's E. A minor. D minor. And sometimes you'll hear me do these little chromatics. I know D minor's here, but I was just on A minor here. So I'm gonna go, and then look at, I'm gonna go back. You can always kind of add a chromatic note to pull you in there. A chromatic note meaning a note that's not in the chord, perhaps. But chromatic specifically means like consecutive adjacent notes, like this, half steps. That's chromaticism. I love adding chromaticism. It adds tension, Django. And these notes are chromatic too because, okay. And then there's a whole series of exercises that I have called the Gypsy Jazz Boot Camp. And I'm really tempted to find that for you. This is called Day 1 Gypsy Jazz Boot Camp. Day 1 minor swing triad embellishments. Shape, but I'm only using, right, for what I just showed you at least, I was using the top 3 strings. Now I'm doing all 4 strings. Just, you can watch the whole lesson, but that's the first step, is to use one finger and get the shapes down. And then number 2 is adding in the lower neighbor. Look at, I think I synced it up, so you can just do this. I'll harmonize with myself. See, so you got me right here to practice with all this method. And then I'm going to say upper scale tone. This we did not cover right here. 3. I don't know how many takes it took me to get this perfect, but it was nonstop. So D minor. This one, I know it's going by fast, but this was the upper scale tone neighbor. So you would visualize that A minor triad, but then you'd start on the note above it. So here's A minor, and you're going to B minor, but you're going da dum dee dum dee dum dee dum, and then D minor, da dum dee dum. I was adding a little bit of rhythm there. I was going. And then on the E, that's that half step above neighbor tone that I say to create a darker gypsy jazz flavor, go a half step above the E major. Obviously, we're getting into improvisation at this point, and there's a lot of some theory stuff involved. But this is just this is a good place for you to be at here, just for the demonstration. I go through 5 embellishments, and here's Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa. Number 4. And you can slow it way down, don't forget. follow along with me. But if you don't have the shapes down first, then that's where I would recommend to go back to. Just make sure you know that I'm following these shapes. A minor. And then here's the fanciest one. Harmonizing. Advertisement there, of course. Anyways, that's the idea, you guys. That's all about soloing right there for leads. I think if you can get through that, along with, well, I'm gonna show it to you yet, but along with just, I'm gonna show you a scale. It's not written, it should be, but I think it's written somewhere else. Just an A harmonic minor scale. I'd love to show you this scale. To me, sometimes someone will say, well, what's one scale I can play through minor swing? And sometimes I'll say like a blues scale. And that was A minor blues. I'll show that one to you in a second. But the scale that I like the most for gypsy jazz is the harmonic minor. Let me just show it to you, then I'll talk a little bit about it. But we got A, B, C. I'm going to show it to you on one string because it's easier that way. A, B, C. And then from A, and that's the first three notes of A minor, by the way. And then now put your finger on D and do the same intervallic relationship motif that you just did. And then D minor. We're not going to do the same on E, but here's E. And now do this. The intervals here are a little bit funky. We have E, F, and then G sharp, 11th fret. And then back to A. So listen to the scale. I showed it to you kind of broken up here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. So it's going to sound like this. All on one string there. Now I'm noodling around. If you said, Tracy, what chord are you on? I don't know. I'm just kind of goofing around. But it's very lyrical, hopefully. So again, do that. Noodle around with the A harmonic minor. Actually, I'm going to just goof around a little bit more. You can do it with me. D minor. E7. A minor. What's next? D minor. I'm kind of targeting a little bit because I know what chord I'm on. A minor. And here's that E. Okay. And then when we put the backing track on, check out how much fun it is to noodle around now. I'm going to slow it down a little bit though. That was kind of fast where we left off at. Do you want me to yell out those tabs again for you, anybody? I was yelling the names of them, but it's if you want to write it down, it's tabs. It's 0, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 11, 12. And if you want to go up with the octave, 14, 15, 17, 19, 20. I don't know if you guys have that cutaway up there. But check it out. Just goofing around with a harmonic minor scale. A harmonic minor. it with some triads. Harmonic minor. D minor. A minor. E. D minor, A minor, A minor, E, D minor. See, I know, that's my problem. I've got a problem. I think about what chord I'm on at all times. It's hard for me, you guys are hearing it first, it's hard for me not to kind of be aware of what chord I'm on because I think so much about it. But in this case, I didn't want to think about what chord I was on. I just wanted to play the scale, but I ended up going back to every chord. That's why, but to me, that's what makes it often kind of more melodic, is when you play to the chord. And that's just kind of my style, is that I really want to be lyrical. I really want to try to play to each chord. The good thing about the scale is you don't have to think about it, because the scale actually contains each one of those notes of the harmonic minor scale contains A, C, E, D, F, A, and E, G sharp, B, the triad notes. It contains each triad notes. So, you can kind of just goof around. Don't think about the chords. I ended up yelling out the chords, so that's what I did. I didn't mean to go and do that. So that's what I ended up doing, though. Like this, the boot camp series, I have it for all of me. Same thing. And I'm doing the same method, all of me. And we just target right through each one of those versus playing one scale throughout the whole thing. All of me actually, if it's hard to just sound good and play one scale. You kind of have to play the changes. So to answer your question, it's kind of song specific. If the song has a lot of secondary dominance, then you gotta be careful and kind of target those. If a song is really basic, like just 1-4-5 folky song or something, then you could just stay within the scale and sound pretty good, meaning pentatonic or diatonic scale. In a minor key, of course, harmonic minor works very well, just to noodle up and down. But otherwise, yeah, I would say it is song specific, but pentatonics are great. And I think that's the thing I want to just end today's lesson. I know we got deep into improvisation, but that's again, the next step after you learn the melody, you learn the chords, is you want to be able to solo. And I want to show you a couple of possibilities. So I showed you the triad method, targeting. That's obviously my favorite approach. You can go and study the Django solos. That's advanced. So when you're ready for that, go to the Django solos and learn some of his licks note for note. But it is all on sound slice again. But the last thing here is just the pentatonic and blues scale, and I would love to show that to you. I'm going to send you a follow-up PDF. If you don't get it by tomorrow, send me a message. I'm not going to be able to do it right now after this session, but I am going to show you the pentatonic scale, but I'm going to show it to you this way, if you don't already know. This is A minor penta. I'm going to show it to you, I'm going to yell out the tabs too. 3-0. And then that was starting on the first string, obviously. 3-0. 3-0. I'm going string by string. 2-0. And then 2. You can actually go 2-0 again. So it's basically 3-0, 3-0. 2-0, 2-0. But G doesn't feel like home. A does. You can make it bluesy by adding some bending. Now it kind of sounds like rock to me. Like this. But I'm just bending these notes. Obviously, you can't really bend open string, so you'd have to do this, but you don't want to do that, so. That's kind of, again, more bluesy sounding, but does that work over a minor swing? Let's check it out. I'll show you. There I'm going targeting, see? It's blues, blues, targeting, blues. So what do you think? Do you like that? Does that work? I like it too. It's pretty fun. Was I thinking about every chord? No, not really. But I knew, intuitively, I knew when that E7 was coming around. And then when it resolved, because that 5-1 relationship, E7 to A minor, it creates that tension. And then when the release comes, the A minor, it feels really good to do a blues lick. That's why I say blues lick. To resolve it. You have this tension. Something pretty bluesy there. And I added one note in to make it blues scale, by the way. This. Right here. And usually I'm just kind of gracing that note. Sounds like the Pink Panther theme. Or I do this. And so again, I'm using that blue note, the flat 5, but I'm not really hanging on it. I'm kind of just sliding in and out of it, either direction, below it to the 4, or above it to the 5. And notice I'm refingering the scale a little bit now. Now I'm not using the open strings. I'm going, instead of this, let's see. Yeah, instead of this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show you one lick 2 different ways. Or this. So again, it's the same, different sound, but the same 3 notes. So if you saw it on paper, you might do the open string, but it sounds, I don't know, different. I won't say better, but sliding. So now I have to do a course on some blues playing for fun. But I apply that to summertime. Summertime, and the living is easy. Fish are jumping. And I'm just 100% playing within that blues scale, A minor blues. But you want to just, again, master it in a couple different positions. In here. I just think of them as these little positions. That's how I'm thinking of it. Whew, that's a lot of stuff again. I think that's a lot of music that you can make just with these tools. You could get a lot more advanced, but it's not always going to make better music. So that's what I'm thinking here. Any other last minute questions? I know you guys will have a lot of materials to look at and review. Here, but here's A minor. but maybe to lead into the A to go into the note. Is that what you're referring to? But here's something I will do quite often and I think this is maybe is closer to what you're asking. But here's A. I know I'm on an A minor chord of some sort, but I'm starting here and going. I'm kind of leading into that A. Instead of just starting right on the root. So it doesn't sound too like, like an exercise. An exercise is like, okay, here's A minor, D minor. But you can kind of disguise that by going, and it starts to sound more like a melodic phrase versus like, hey, I'm targeting A minor. So these are these are what you'll find in my little etudes, my solo etudes. Not just my Gypsy Jazz Bootcamp exercises, but these are more like solos. Like hopefully they sound like music is what I'm saying. Like where there's lines. So playing A minor, but to add a scale note, the 2, to make it a scale fragment like this. D minor would be this. And again, that starts to sound a lot more melodic. And then D minor. So I'm just adding in one scale tone in between the triad, the 2, and I call that a scale fragment. And this now I'm showing you kind of what I didn't show you today, but this would be the next step. That's a lot more when I say high-tech, these arpeggios. And again, that takes a certain amount of fretboard knowledge, and it's a good study. So if you want to, look up my studies called the diagonal arpeggio method. And it would look something like this. These are the arpeggios. And then D minor. Diminish. So again, it gets a lot more notey, I always say, notey. Lot of stuff. Again, there's a lot on Patreon, so that's why I keep referring you as your studies progress, depending on where you're at. Like, if you might say, oh, I've got these triads down, got embellishments, go on to the, go on to the diagonal arpeggios. I gave you the easy arpeggio method. I mean, there's so much stuff, again, but start with the triads. That's where I would recommend. And then look to Django. Learn the blues scale, learn your harmonic minor scale, and then play along a lot with backing tracks. Try to be mindful about where you're at. Try to be mindful about like, hey, I'm gonna just play blues scale for 16 bars, one chorus, or then I'm gonna do harmonic minor. Now I'm gonna do triad embellishments. Now I'm just going to mix and match and have fun and just go by however I feel. I just shared it yesterday. I was saying that was actually the first one that got me really, by doing that for the ukulele, I was like, oh, this is fun. I'm going to really kind of start to do more Gypsy Jazz ukulele materials. Because at that time, I was strictly guitar. But then I did that one, and that kind of led me to the whole, wanting to put it out there for ukulele. Because there's not that many resources for Gypsy Jazz ukulele. Well, hey, yeah, thanks everybody. Yeah, I hope you have fun with it. Again, there's many different levels that you can enjoy doing it. Sorry, the lighting's really bad in here now. It's dark, dark here. But again, have fun with it, and then go on to the next song. Whether it's I kind of have a little list there of my my Gypsy Jazz repertoire, but it might be if you're in the minor key. If you love the minor keys, Dark Eyes would be the next song I would recommend learning. If you want a major key song, go to, and by the way, maybe a C Jam Blues. That would be a good, easy blues to learn, C Jam Blues by Duke Ellington. And I have a lot of materials on Patreon for that, C Jam Blues. If you want to check that out, you'll see the similar concept. Do the triads, the triad embellishments. Let's do pentatonics, same type of deal. And then All of Me and Sweet Georgia Brown. I'm naming these songs because I have quite a bit of materials already available to you. And then from there, I hope you get the ideas and say, oh, I can apply this to any song, that you love to play. And then that's how I like to do it. So, But otherwise, hey, everybody, thanks so much. I appreciate you joining in on this workshop, and maybe I'll do another one in the new year, maybe on a major key song or something fun like that, like a 2-hour workshop, just really going through it carefully. Happy holidays, everybody.